And the Heritage Fund was established under the Petroleum Revenue Management Act. Now, the fund was established to provide an endowment to support development for future generations when petroleum reserves have been depleted. And on Tuesday, Senior Minister Yaw Osafo hinted that government will review the Petroleum Management Act to leverage on the Heritage Fund to finance the free senior high school education school policy. Now, this has come up and a lot of issues have come up out of this. I'm telling because my colleague Martin Asiedu-Dartey will give us a breakdown and what has arisen out of this comment made by Senior Minister.
Truly, this debate is very likely to stay with us for the next few weeks.
Or months.
Probably months. And it's very likely also that government in the next few days will come out to give some clarity to what they really intend or the processes they intend to take, you know, in whether or not we are going to touch the Heritage Fund or not. That debate is going to stay with us for the next few months, probably. But what we are going to be doing here now is to look at the law, what it says, and then we would speak to, example, some civil society organizations like the Public Interest Accountability Committee or Forum, and to pick their thoughts on what they make of the debate and whether or not we should touch the money. And if you say future generation, as is clearly stated, who are we referring to when we say future generation? So that is what I'm here to do, Wendy. Thank you very much for this opportunity. We would go straight to look at the law now. It is based on the Petroleum Revenue Management Act 815. It was established in 2011. And this is what it says, especially Article 10(2). It says that the object, the Ghana Heritage Fund, is hereby established, and it is to provide an endowment to support development for future generations when the petroleum reserves have been depleted. Now, take particular notice of when the reserve has been depleted, and then also B, it will receive excess petroleum revenue. So when anytime there's an excess, we will put that excess into that petroleum fund. Before we go to Mr. Jantuah, who is with PIAC, we would want to first of all listen exactly to what Osafo said. Okay, we'll bring you what Osafo said. And Osafo, you'd recall, is the current senior minister, and he made this or gave this hint about the government's decision to probably look at using the Heritage Fund. Mr. Kwame Jantuah, good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for joining us.
Hello.
Yes, good afternoon, and thank you very much for joining us.
Good afternoon.
The debate about whether or not government can touch the Heritage Fund seem to be ongoing. First of all, with your outfit, which is the Public Interest...
Sorry, I can't hear you properly. There seems to be some noise in the background.
Is it clearer now?
Well, try, because it's very noisy at the background. But try. Hello.
Okay. Okay, let's give it another try. What is PIAC's position on government's suggestion that they may be looking at touching the Heritage Fund?
What is PIAC's position?
Yes.
At the present moment, we haven't met as PIAC to bring a position out. But from where I stand, I feel it is not sustainable. Even if we are to use the Heritage Fund, it is not sustainable. When you look at oil prices today, the volatility of oil prices today would not allow us to be able to fund this laudable project, throughout the whole year. What was the budget for education last year? 7.5 billion cedis, which amounts to maybe around $3.4 billion. How much was the oil fund? Even if we look at oil receipts from 2010 to June 16th, June 30th of this year, it was 3.3 billion. And really and truly, how can we use that to finance, education? Look, we have all been talking about, the challenges of what the government is proposing. I think we should now look at the way forward. And for me, one of the ways forward should be it is a national issue. Education is a national issue.
Right.
It's not a party issue. It's not only the government's issue. It affects all of us. I will suggest that what the government does is that they set up a committee, civil society, all the interested stakeholders. Between now and September, there's a bit of time. Let's sit down, let's go into this thing, let's find an appropriate way to finance this education. I don't think it's a question of, yes, we can't do it, the money is that, the money is this. Let's look at ways forward.
Okay,
how are
Mr.
we
Jantuah,
going to be able to make sure that we provide free SHS?
Mr. Jantuah, clearly your position seems to endorse the fact that what the president or the current administration has indicated is in the right direction. Free senior high school, no?
My position is that education is key to everything we do in this country.
Okay.
Because of lack of education, there are a lot of things that the ordinary Ghanaian cannot challenge the government on. And education is key, is paramount to everything we do. It is a national issue, not a party issue, not only a government issue. And I think the government should be amicable enough, amendable enough to open the discussion for stakeholders to come in.
Mr.
Let's
Jantuah,
sit down, let's discuss it. Let's see how we can
briefly before you take leave of us, Mr. Osafo-Maafo, in his, when he espoused this position, indicated that they would consider a review of the law to allow them. That is, if there's a finality on the decision, they might want to look at reviewing the law. But as it stands now, do you think that it is even advisable to consider that, or we should clearly stay off it and look at other sources of funding the free senior high school?
If we are to review the law, what change will it bring? If the oil price is $20 a barrel, are we going to get enough money to do it? For me, when we look at the law, the only thing we can do is look at the 4 priority areas. Those 4 priority areas, if we say education is key and education is going to take a chunk of it, let's reduce the 4 priority areas to 2 priority areas. So that the money that we get, we can use that and also look at other sources. Look, the consolidated fund is leaking. There's quite a lot of wastage in money in this country that we are not even claiming for. The Auditor General, he comes every day to tell us money we are losing. Let's tighten up those holes. Let's tighten up a lot of those holes, and I'm sure we'll be able to identify where the money is. But I believe government alone cannot do it. Stakeholders, everybody should sit around the table and let's think about this thing so that in the long term, this thing is going for years on end.
On end. All right. Thank you. We are grateful that you made time to speak to us, and we're happy to have spoken to you. We just spoke to Kwame Jantuah. He's the Vice President of the Public Interest Accountability Committee, that is PIAC, and they just shared their position on the debate about whether or not government or Ghana should touch the Heritage Fund, which is intended for the future. Who is the future? We will bring you more on this particular development in our subsequent bulletins.